Guys, we have some exciting news.
The Forties formula is going live on August 14th at the Green Collective at Funan Mall.
We are going to dive deep into the science, myths, and struggles around sugar addiction.
Breakfast and coffee are on us, thanks to the generous sponsors, Guzman y Gomez.
It's a small and intimate event with only 15 spots, so it's first come, first served.
Tickets are only $20, and that includes breakfast and $5 towards your purchase at the Green Collective.
Come and join us for a conversation that might change the way you eat, think, and feel.
I got diagnosed with cancer. We chose to remove my cervix. I started chemotherapy 2 weeks after my 32nd birthday. After 11 hours of chemotherapy, I went straight into menopause. Like, it took away everything, and it almost took my career. I felt like such an imposter. What if they think that I'm not good enough to be in the job? She doesn't have to be that 1 in 10 women that leave the workplace because of menopause. Globally, it's costing GDP $120 billion US. I was struggling with brain fog, memory loss, focus, concentration. That part of my story is not unique. Most of the women I speak to now, all going through that. I want women to know that there is a solution to every single symptom that they feel. My gold star would be to have a specific menopause policy. Fear comes from a lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
I am just so determined to give women this knowledge that you can thrive.
Oh, yes.
You just need to be armed with information.
Yes.
And your menopause experience can be largely determined by your genetics. It is also largely determined on your lifestyle. Every one of us will go through it. Every woman will experience it uniquely. Be unapologetic. Why are we so afraid to say the word menopause?
Yeah.
Our bodies are superhuman. If you treat it well, it will give you back. It's like a boomerang effect. If you look after it, it will look after you.
Hey, and welcome to the Forties Formula, your go-to place for insightful discussions on navigating the 40s and thriving in this transformative decade.
We're your hosts, Jasmin and Amanda, two women that are passionate about exploring the challenges and adventures that come with turning 40 and what lies ahead. All right, before we dive into today's episode, let's talk about something that makes our lives way easier.
And tastier, because let's be honest, between work, workouts, and life, we don't exactly have time to wrestle the trolleys at the supermarket.
Which is why we've been with the Meat Club since the beginning of the 40s formula.
Yep, they've had our back since episode 1, and tasty dinners on our plates too.
With the Meat Club, you skip the supermarket chaos and get premium nutritious proteins delivered to your door on your schedule.
It's a subscription that actually simplifies life. No last-minute grocery runs, just quality meats, seafood, fruits, and veggies always ready when you are.
Their mission says it all. Good food is the foundation of a great life. And with the Meat Club's delivery, it's coming literally to your doorstep.
This is where quality meets convenience, and we're here for it.
All right, TMC drop check. Let's see what we got here. Oh, well, first things first, you can't have Taco Tuesdays without snapper.
But what about salmon? Because that's definitely our favorite.
Okay, fair enough. But chicken breast, that's the workhorse we're eating every single day.
I think it's all about the chicken thighs.
Oh my gosh, chicken thighs. I don't know if I could get one down myself, but I do know that this mince makes a mean burger.
Who wants burgers when you can have a grass-fed beef eye fillet steak?
Okay, that is amazing. But with that steak, I would definitely be serving this delicious broccoli and spicing it up with these chilies.
Okay, you definitely won there. I have got some coriander, some cherry tomatoes. I mean, check out the color on those. And for dessert, strawberries.
We also got some fruit for the kids, which they will love. And one of the coolest thing about the subscription, an amazing quality chef's knife and a beautiful wooden cutting board.
Honestly, it's the easiest way to eat well without overthinking it.
So if you're ready to upgrade your meals without adding to your mental load, head over to themeatclub.com.sg.
Sign up for the flexible subscription, no lock-ins, just high-quality proteins delivered straight to you.
And don't forget to use our code TFF12 to save $12 off your first order.
We'll drop it in the show notes, or you can find it on our Instagram.
The Meat Club, where quality meets convenience. So probably one of the most requested topics here at the 40s Formula is anything to do with menopause. And we've hit it from all angles. We talk about how menopause affects sex, how menopause affects your muscles. but we've never actually had a chat about how menopause affects you at work. And that's why we are so excited today to have corporate menopause champion Lisa Tarquini with us today.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much for coming. And we were just chatting off air about your compelling personal story with menopause. Do you mind sharing that with us?
So I was first diagnosed with cervical cancer in 2011. So I was 31 years old and I was living my best life in Rome with my now husband. Thankfully, he stuck around. And I got diagnosed with cancer. In Italian, it was cancro, so it was nicer. And I chose to go back to Northern Ireland to get a second opinion. And we chose to remove my cervix. And then 6 months later, the tumour returned. And so I started chemotherapy 2 weeks after my 32nd birthday in January 2012. And after 11 hours of chemotherapy, I went straight into menopause. It shut off my ovaries.
Oh, geez, that's just giving me goosebumps, like hearing that.
So yeah, I've been in menopause now for 13 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And obviously that happening to you at 32
Yes.
means that really affected your family planning.
Like it took away everything. I was asked before I had started chemotherapy, did I want to preserve my eggs? But because the cancer was so aggressive, I said, look, let's just get on with the treatment. And the oncologist said that she was very happy to hear me say that because she didn't think we had enough time to do that. So yeah, it took my fertility, yeah.
Do you mind sharing the happy ending to that story?
I do, yeah. It's been a journey. The first 5 years of my, I suppose, cancer journey were riddled with mental health issues, and the mental impact almost took my life in 2017, where I almost stepped in front of a bus. But having never had mental health issues and never felt suicidal in my life, you know, I thankfully shook it off and recognized that I needed to go and speak to the doctor. And she gave me an SSRI, an antidepressant, to help my body absorb and reuptake serotonin, the happy hormone. And within 2 weeks, it was night and day. She saved my life, you know.
Wow.
And before that, you know, I've always wanted a family. And my husband and I, when we first met on a beach in Dubai, I think one of my first conversations was, because he was 10 years older, do you want to have a family? And he said, yes, absolutely. So before I was given what I call my miracle pill that changed my life, I didn't think I could be a mum because I was so riddled with dark times and mood lows and low energy. And then shortly after I started to feel better, I said, okay, let's get started. And so we chose to have surrogate babies.
Amazing.
So our babies were born in California.
Yeah.
Wow.
Alfredo was born in 2019 and Stella was born in 2020. So there's 5 months apart. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, so,
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
That's
So
a beautiful
that's
story.
Almost like having twins, isn't it?
It is.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
5 months. I'd say that for all intents and purposes,
Oh,
that
yeah.
counts. That's
yeah,
real
I think
close.
they would call that Irish twins.
Irish
Yeah,
twins.
Irish, yeah,
There we go.
You can say that, right? So that's definitely true.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, thank you for sharing that deep element of your personal journey. It obviously makes sense now why you felt compelled to start a company that helps women in this space.
So 2 years after I finished my cancer treatment, I felt much stronger and I wanted to get my career back. I was lucky enough to get the job as the sports nutrition manager at the Hong Kong Sports Institute in Hong Kong, working with the Olympic athletes. And so we came to Hong Kong in 2014. And when you're working with 1% of the population who are training for Asian Games or Olympics, they expect you to know your research. They want you to know the latest research on protein for, you know, recovery and things like that, or carbohydrate for fueling, or, you know, which supplements are going to, you know, enhance their performance. And I knew the information, but I couldn't get it out. And when I was reading scientific journals, I honestly had to read the abstract at least 5 times. And even then I couldn't retain it. And so I retreated. So I had a team of 10 and I was lucky to have, you know, dietitians and biochemists who were so exceptional at their job. that as most good managers, I delegated. And I kind of retreated back from working hands-on, and I took a more managerial approach. And, you know, we put some great systems in place at the Sports Institute. We revamped the food provision and things like that. So the job was still great, but my love to work with the athletes, you know, I really missed that. And it almost took my career. You know, I felt like such an imposter. What if they think that I'm not good enough to be in the job? And it wasn't until, you know, after my doctor had given me this SSRI and I recognized, oh my God, my memory's working and I can retain this information. I know this answer, you know, and I was able to get that information out to the athletes. I found my confidence again. That part of my story is not unique. That part of my story where I was struggling with brain fog, memory loss, focus, concentration, retention of information. Most of the women I speak to now, all going through that and feeling exceptionally vulnerable in their workplaces. And this is why I set up the menopause space, because a career A-type personality like myself, I want women to know that there is a solution to every single symptom that they feel and to help them identify it sooner. Not be a hero. Don't leave it too late to ask for help and get the help quicker, and just close that gap so you can thrive, you know, through your career.
All right, big news. The Guzman y Gomez app has officially launched in Singapore, and we are already hooked.
Yes, it's giving convenience with standards. You can customize your order, skip the queue, and earn loyalty points with Gomex every time you order.
And there are app-only deals, coffee rewards, yes, exclusive bundles, and it's all kind of brilliant.
The best part, the app just makes getting clean, quality food even easier. GYG hasn't changed their core. No artificial flavors, no preservatives, just real ingredients and big flavors.
So now we can get fast, clean, crave-worthy food with a few taps on our phone. I mean, honestly, they have nailed it.
Download the Guzman y Gomez Singapore app and check them out at locations all across the island. Vivo City, Jewel, Westgate and more. Clean is the new healthy, and now it's also the new app. It's one of those things, isn't it? You're like, you know, you walk into a room and you'll be like, why did I come in here again? Yeah. And then if you're writing an email or you're speaking to someone or you're presenting, then all of a sudden you're like, what's that word? You know that word that we say to do this, and you just can't get it out. So it's like, it's one of those things where everyone knows what's happening, but it's so difficult to put in words. And then also you don't know what's happening because you don't put the two together.
Yeah. I personally thought that I had dementia. Wow. Because I went into early menopause, dementia runs in my dad's side of the family. And so that's what I thought I had. I didn't recognize that I didn't know the knowledge. I hadn't the knowledge on menopause and the kind of the symptoms that it presented itself with. And I didn't put two and two together. And so women today are still, you know, unaware of this, but also women who maybe, you know, in these big positions, highly stressed, naturally would have been able to manage that, you know, in their 30s, early 40s, mid 40s and beyond. They're now thinking, oh my God, do I have a brain tumor? You know, do I have dementia? You know, and instead of having this awareness and knowledge and information to say, oh, I'm going through a hormonal transition and I need to go and see my doctor to get help with that. So that's the importance of the awareness, you know?
Yeah. And you just hit the nail on the head with the confusion around, is this a symptom or am I degrading? Right? Am I declining?
Yes.
And I came across that study, which I'm sure you're intimately familiar with, about the menopause penalty.
Yes.
And basically the idea that employment options are fewer. Women are being penalized in the workplace for what they're perceiving as their, you know, mental and physical decline. But in fact, this is related to menopause, right? So how do you help women, first of all, kind of suss out their symptoms? And then how do you help them not be penalized by the symptoms that they experience?
There's just this great need for mass basic education, you know, and thankfully the conversation has accelerated in the last few years, particularly at this side of the world. So how we help women recognize their symptoms, there's a few ways. We have a menopause symptom tracker that we have on as a resource on the website, but we go into workplaces and we talk like this. We don't go in from a medical perspective. We go in from real story perspective. But also, my first job is science and nutrition and well-being. And so it has to be evidence-based. So just telling them the story and having a conversation helps other women then open up and share what they're going through. And so that creates awareness, and that creates a form of education that they haven't already had. And that community can then help signpost. We do deliver very specific training within organisations on senior leader training to help create advocacy. We also help design policy within organisations so that there is support in terms of benefits and insurance. There's a long way to go there. At the minute, within particularly all organisations, big global organisations, MNCs are definitely coming further ahead, but it's still initial stages here at this side of the world, but it's getting much better.
Give us an example of one of the policies that you might design to support women through this.
The term policy, unfortunately, businesses kind of shy away from because they feel it's quite a concrete term, but actually when we had our flagship event in October last year, we had an employment lawyer on who, spoke about the word policy doesn't hold legal, real connotations to it. But that's okay. In the beginning stages, we help organizations with their menopause guidelines. So we look at reasonable adjustments within the workplace. So that could be anything from identifying where the cooler spots of the office are, or if there's...
I like that one.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but they have big, these organizations are huge. So there should be temperature control at certain parts of the office, possibly lighting for those who are suffering from migraines, and even for women going through their normal menstrual cycle who have, menstrual migraines as well, where they have different areas. And some women have hypersensitivity to sound, smell. So just being able to identify those hot spots where maybe they can have a hot seat, a table, or a room
away from the toilets,
flexible working. So we advise on that currently, not necessarily to have a specific. My gold star would be to have a specific menopause policy, but actually having a women's health policy in place with menstruation, maternity, menopause, and mental health on that, and then having that as a roadmap for an internal women's health hub on an intranet or learning management system within the organization. So we're advising on that currently. Organizations are pleasantly surprised at how much they do already offer.
That's promising.
But there's the context isn't there, because menopause is still a dirty word in these big corporate organizations. Women don't want to talk about it because they don't want to seem weak. Men don't understand how to talk about it. Senior leaders are more focused on numbers, but how we help them bring the human-centric approach to it, and we advocate for those going through it and those wanting to help but don't know how to help as well.
In this side of the world, do women have any legal rights when it comes to menopause, or is that totally unheard of?
In what sense?
So like if they're let go, are they allowed to be let go because they might not be performing because of the menopause? I don't know if I'm wording this correctly, but
so unfair dismissal, for example.
So like for example, when you're going through pregnancy, you can't be let go of. I think that's correct. Is that correct here, or is that different? Have I got the wrong end of the stick?
Again, I am not a lawyer in this area, but I don't think that those protections exist in Singapore. I'm not sure.
Oh gosh, I doubt it. I don't think there's been a case.
So there's no
in the
protection.
US,
I'm not saying there's
in
no
the US,
protection.
absolutely, but here
in the UK as well, unfair dismissal. I think this conversation is only just beginning. And employment laws are different here at this side of the world as well. And obviously, if we think about, we're here in Singapore today. I work across the APAC region, and every country and every region has their different nuances and cultures and laws. And so, there's, to my mind, to date, I don't think there has been a dismissal case, an unfair dismissal case because of menopause symptoms.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to hear that there hasn't been something.
Well, there possibly
could
could have
be,
been.
yeah.
They just, the woman hasn't got a leg to stand on or doesn't have the confidence to fight her corner,
Well, again, you just mentioned the 4 M's, right? So menstruation, maternity, menopause, and again, mental health not being necessarily a moment in time, but just kind of an overarching umbrella. Women are constantly being penalized for changes in their biology.
Yes.
I remember when I was a gymnast, competitive gymnast, being terrified of getting my period.
Yes.
And first of all, competitive gymnasts at our level, and again, especially back in the day where we didn't have as much nutrition support and information,
That's right,
it was like you didn't want to get your period. So you wanted to extend as far as you could into your gymnastics career before you got it, right?
Yes.
And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, because what's going to happen is I'm going to gain a bunch of weight, I'm going to get a bunch of curves, and I'm going to be worse at my sport.
Yes.
Right? So it's like even back then, there was this misunderstanding that the changes that are natural and healthy for you, you should be fearful of.
Yes.
What I worry about, right, when we talk about the 4 M's in the workplace is like, does it in any way create fear or trepidation around these things? Because like, well, here's all the symptoms you might experience that might affect your career negatively. How do you spin it to be like, no, this is empowering you with knowledge, right? To know what's coming.
That's a great question. And yes, the fear is real.
Is real. Go
Yeah.
ahead again. I said, I'm shaking in my boots as a premenopausal woman, right?
Yes.
Like what is to come?
And the fear is real, and it's very sad that we have fear around this stage of life. And fear comes from a lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
And that's where, I am just so determined to give women this knowledge that you can thrive.
Oh, yes.
You just need to be armed with information.
Yes.
You have so many choices on symptom management, and you can choose how you want to have a menopause experience. And your menopause experience, can be largely determined by your genetics, maybe how your mum went through it, but it is also largely determined on your lifestyle. And you can have now medicinal support for that. And we are here in Southeast Asia, so we do have access to traditional Chinese medicine. We have acupuncture, and the West versus East doesn't have to exist. They can complement each other as well.
Yes.
So it's really important that we continue through the education progress, and that is going to take a generation. And, I'm 45 and I see a whole shift in my friendship groups are all learning about this. The generation above us are, possibly through it and they got lost, and unfortunately they didn't have the resources that we now have.
It's so sad, isn't it? When I think back to my mum, my mother-in-law, my aunts, I'm thinking, God, what you guys must have gone through it's really sad, because I feel we are empowered. We're at this point now in our time where we're getting the knowledge and the support and the help that we need, but they didn't have it.
No. And they were continually, I'm sure, at least some women, self-blaming.
Yeah.
Their community groups didn't talk about it.
No.
There was shame. Like we've done this to ourselves as well as women, we're quite judgy, and we dismiss other friends if we're stronger and, they're just, not strong enough to, and that has to stop as well. We have to start supporting each other and recognize that, menopause, yes, it happens to 100% of the female population. Yeah. Every one of us will go through it. Every woman will experience it uniquely. And just because you might have had an easy ride doesn't mean that's your friend has to have an easy ride. Your friend may be, having a tougher ride than you. And having that empathy is really important. I feel sometimes, though, it's hard to have true empathy if you haven't experienced it yourself. But that's where knowledge comes in, and active listening, and just being there, which is so important.
Well, and I think you just, discuss kind of what is the strategy for men. in menopause, right? They will never be through it.
Yes.
So what can they do?
Yes.
Be active listeners, be there, be
Yes.
supportive, right?
Yes.
How else do you work with men that, like I said, first of all, will never experience and have never experienced any of the M's, maybe the mental health one, they're welcome to that one.
Yes.
But how do you work with men that will never, have never, and maybe can't even get in the shoes of
Yes.
a menopausal woman?
So there's a couple of things when it comes to men and menopause. And one that I would like to talk about first is it's not their fault.
Definitely not.
We haven't understood what's been going on in our bodies. Like my mum doesn't even talk about menopause. She's 68, and I did an event yesterday with two wonderful women from Singapore, and, they have just been through their crazy experiences, and they were quite extreme, a bit like mine. And, they couldn't communicate it with their husband because they didn't know what to communicate. Yeah. And so the knowledge has to start with us as women so that we can articulate what's happening and how we need men to help us and support us. We have to give them a hand because they don't experience it. But the other way that we work with men is I have a partnership with a wonderful company in the UK called Over the Bloody Moon.
I love that name.
First of all, love it. Tell me more about it.
So good. Love Leslie. And she created a MenoVest. It's the world's only menopause simulator. And it simulates hot flushes like a woman will experience them.
Wow.
So
can we get this in Singapore? Because
I've got it. I've got the franchise for Asia. I was at an event with a company yesterday, and one of the male senior leaders wore it and gave his feedback on it. Yeah.
Yeah, those hot
Please
flushes
tell us
are...
everything. So,
It's such a powerful tool, right? So it's like a gilet.
okay.
The man will experience a hot flush and he won't know when it's coming.
Yeah.
How hot it's going to be
and how
how
often.
long it's going to last for,
Amazing.
and how often it's going to come. And when we ask men to wear these, we ask them to, really think of the role play as if they are a woman. And to have the respect of that, and not to joke, this isn't that hot and things like that. And we also then ask them, how did it impact your mental health? And so yesterday, the feedback from this particular senior leader was, one, I'm so sorry, ladies, that you have had to experience this. He couldn't concentrate on the conversation in detail because he was thinking about when the next one was coming.
Yes.
And it was so hot.
It's actually making me a bit emotional because I actually remember going through those hot flushes, and it's not, and this is weird, this is the first time I'm actually getting emotional during a podcast, but it was really tough. It's horrible. Like, you don't know what's happening, you don't know when it's coming, and it does not feel nice. Oh, wow.
This is her first ever cry, by the way. I cry all the time.
Yeah, this is because you think, it's just a hot flush, but it's not just a hot flush. That's
It's
the thing.
not.
No.
It's not. Particularly working with women in the workplace who are in those senior leader roles, and just general employees, right? As well, like every woman in those organizations who have to deliver, who have important jobs. Like the lady yesterday was an IP lawyer. She gets paid for her brain.
Yes.
Jeez, yeah.
And honest to goodness, I'm not taking away from a woman who's on a checkout or a woman who, cleans for a living, or a stay-at-home mom. It's so important that we recognize everybody, every woman goes through this in the roles that they play on a daily basis, particularly with my job, seeing the vulnerability, like you, Jasmin, and, women in these leadership roles who are just distraught and don't know and think about leaving. So with the questions that you sent, one of them, came up this morning just randomly after I read it. And a dear friend of mine in Hong Kong is head of HR for a global company. And she is currently in New York. And she bumped into an old friend who has been with this global company for 20 years. She moved from Hong Kong to London, is currently living in London. She was distraught, and she had come to New York to hand in her notice because she is suffering so badly with menopausal symptoms. And she is not being heard. Even in the UK, where they seem to be ahead of the game in this space, She is being dismissed. She is not being listened to. She is being pawned off. And she just doesn't feel like she can do the job. Now, having been in this global company for 20 years, she's a big player and she has 2 big roles. And my friend was just like, no, you can't hand in your notice. Let me help. As head of HR, please let me help. Because I'm her friend and I'm doing all of this work in this space and I've done some work within their company. She knew what she had to do. So she said to this woman, you need to go and talk to your 2 line heads, managers, and you need to explain what's going on. I'm going to give you 3 months off. Yes. I need you to talk to my friend Lisa and I need her to signpost you to get the help that you need. And I'm going to give you the time and space to build your community around that.
It's amazing.
And so she then went to her senior leaders, because this particular stage of the women's life cycle hasn't been brought in to this global company yet. It's coming. And so she went to those 2 heads of the team and explained that the woman would be coming to talk to them about what she's going through. It's going to be a difficult conversation. This is what you need to know, and you're prepared for it now. And they're like, oh, because they haven't had the training.
Yes.
I don't know what to do. It feels like an awkward conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just having conversations can support anyone around you make a decision that could change somebody's life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my friend today made a decision that hopefully will positively impact this woman's life, and that she doesn't have to be that 1 in 10 women that leave the workplace because of menopause. That statistic. And I fingers crossed, I got goosebumps. I hope that woman now gets the help that she needs so that she can thrive. And also this company is so good and this woman is so valued that they said, we can find another role for her to keep her. She's that valuable.
Wow.
Amazing.
So that's the support that workplaces do need to provide.
Yes.
And that's the infrastructure that needs to be put in place. But it's just the know-how, because it's the word. What my friend did today was be a human being and to be a HR manager to help. Take away menopause. She was a human being.
Yes.
And she knew that woman, her dear friend, who was an amazing person, high performer, needed help. And she was able to offer that. So, a lot of workplaces now are going centralized and it's all about numbers and, they're taking away the human-centric side of the workplace. That has to come back because people need help.
Look, I am never cutting carbs. They're part of my training plan and they fuel my workouts.
And I'm not exactly keto either, but I do have carbs. I want to enjoy them without the bloat, the crash, or that nap on the floor moment.
That's why we both rate the metabolic control routine from Avea Life. It's Stabilizer, which is designed to reduce post-meal glucose spikes, with NMN to support cellular energy.
I honestly feel more balanced after my meals. Less fog, more focus. It's subtle, but you feel it.
If you're trying to manage your energy and feel a bit more steady, go check it out. Use code FORMULA20 at avea-life.com for 20% off. That appalling statistic that you just dropped, 1 in 10 women leaving the workplace during menopause. All I can think about, right, circling back to the menopause penalty, is women in lower SES categories.
Yes, for sure.
If they are leaving the workplace and that is their, tasked with, providing for the family, let's say, or, how does the menopause penalty then disproportionately affect women in lower SES categories that might not have access to these types of resources you're describing?
Significantly, so they end up, living off the state on disability allowance or unemployment benefits, which costs the government money as well. But also not having that knowledge and understanding can impact their, home, the home life, the social life, the relationships that they share, whether that's with their children, their partners, or their family. They can become lonely. They can disengage from society. And actually, a few weeks ago, a teacher took her life in England because of menopause. The coroner has stated that she had mental health issues because of menopause and that she didn't get the help that she needed, and the system needs to change. And so, you know, that can have a huge impact on society as a whole from a human perspective. But also, you know, if we talk about the economic cost, you know, menopause and the loss of productivity is costing the UK 12 billion UK pounds. Japan are the only region in Asia to release their data. It's costing them 1.9 trillion yen.
Wow. I remember that headline.
Yeah, so they released that last year, March last year in the Nikkei. And globally, it's costing the globe GDP 120 billion US dollars. And this is just because of a lack of awareness, a lack of knowledge, and a lack of access to best practice care.
Yes.
Because doctors aren't trained in it. And not every doctor wants to be a women's health specialist, particularly GPs. You know, they have to do so much. So, you know, you have to know a particular primary care provider who has a specialist and want and need to help women in this phase of life, and they're few and far between, unfortunately, at the minute.
Isn't it crazy that you know, doctors don't want to be a women health specialist, let's say, but then by default, if 50% of the population is women, then they just all get to be men's health specialists, and that's okay.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean,
No, I know, but I think
it doesn't seem like, you know, it's like I'm sorry that this isn't your preference, but oh well, it's half your patients.
Yeah.
So
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
That drives me crazy.
It does. I think, you know, if you think about the lack of research in general on women's health, right? The lack of provision that we've had up until this point, like I think it was a decade ago that a doctor in the UK, Dr. Louise Newson, really started this campaign. And rightly or wrongly, she has been, you know, pulled over the coals by menopause societies, you know, globally and locally. And, you know, because people don't like change, but she has ruffled feathers in such a way that has made an impact for change. And she's my hero. I'm so grateful for her. And, you know, it's going to take a while for that ripple effect to happen, you know, and hopefully in the next 10 years, we'll see, you know, a huge increase in knowledge and awareness and doctors taking accountability.
I just want to go back to your point where you said that some women have to go on sort of disability allowance or get support from the state. Now, is that even possible? And the reason I bring this up is because when it comes to things like HRT, you can't get it on insurance. You don't get it from the government. I'm pretty sure you can't get it on NHS unless it's changed now.
It is, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I remember years and years ago, a long time ago, I used to work for the appeal service while I was at university, just, you know, earning a little bit of money. And there was a lady who turned up who was trying to get disability allowance for endometriosis because she couldn't work because she was in so much pain.
Yes.
Yeah. They denied her claim.
That sounds like a lawsuit. Is that? I mean, that can't.
Look, I'm not.
I don't know. I'm like, you're everything now, right, Lisa? You're a lawyer as well, right?
I think there has been a few cases in the UK. You know, menopause is a natural phase of life.
Yeah.
But it can cause cardiovascular disease.
Yeah.
It's the number one cause of death in women post-menopause.
Yeah. We just had a cardiologist on talking about that, as a matter of fact.
Brilliant. And osteoporosis is the most prevalent of diseases. Now, both of those are preventable.
Yeah.
But we haven't heard about this in, you know, years gone by.
I know, because you're going to get breast cancer if you take HRT, right?
Which thankfully now has changed. And
but there are still people who believe that. There are still people who don't know.
And doctors still think that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that is where the next 5 years are going to be so important for women to have this knowledge and empowerment. But going back to, you know, having a disability, you know, other underlying risks like type 2 diabetes or musculoskeletal issues, they can cause so much pain for women in low socioeconomic areas who may not have the ability to pay for a strength trainer
Yes.
or to eat healthy.
Yeah.
Sorry to say, but
true,
eating healthy.
absolutely.
I'm a nutritionist by trade, and can be expensive,
Yes.
particularly today.
Yes.
Like with the
It's so much
economic.
easier to go and buy a meal deal from Tesco's than it would be to go and buy the vegetables, the protein, the stuff you
And make the meal,
Yes,
you know,
the time.
Yes.
and it's the
There's a time cost.
It's people are time poor
Yes.
now as well, and if you're suffering with mental health because of menopause, you may not have the will or the want to do anything, which I can attest for because I didn't at one stage as well, and so they can become factors that can lead to disability benefits possibly, and then seeking unemployment in the UK. I'm not sure what that's like here, but definitely that is happening in the UK. Yeah.
Well, you were just mentioning, right, that we need to do more good science
Yes.
on women going through menopause, right? So I relate to this not as a woman going through menopause, but as a woman writing a book on prenatal and postpartum fitness.
Amazing.
There's a gap of research, not just for women, but for what you can even test on pregnant women, right? So it's, there's IRB blockades from what we can find out about this population. So it's not so much that this population is mysterious, so much as we sort of can't study them in the traditional outlets that we need to get the RCT level of research that we would need to make care decisions in a medical facility, right? So bringing that to menopause, what do you see as some of the biggest gaps in the research? So we just talked about HRT, right? So that old ancient HRT causes breast cancer that's been, completely debunked here, there, and everywhere, but still persists.
Yeah.
Where are some of the other research gaps that need to be filled to help menopausal women make their case?
With hormone replacement therapy, there definitely needs to be way more, research on that. There was like a SWAN study done, and it was positive, and it's longitudinal, which is great. We need more longitudinal data.
Yes.
We need more non-hormonal treatments involved. Like when a lot of women do go to the doctors, they unfortunately leave it too late, and they go when they are at their most vulnerable with a whole host of things. And doctors' initial thing is to put them on antidepressants. Actually, the SSRI, the antidepressant, can be a non-hormonal treatment for menopause and mood disorders as well. I'm using that as well as hormone replacement therapy, and I'm so grateful for it. There are other non-hormonal treatments. There's a new treatment now that's just been launched in Singapore called Veoza, which is amazing for vasomotor symptoms. The non-hormonal treatments as well for women with estrogen dominant cancers, for example, breast cancer, so this is going to be groundbreaking for them. But even that, more research is needed in that field. For me personally, it's the lifestyle as well. Like, women need a DEXA scan at 40 years of age as a baseline.
Girl, preach. Can you just really quickly, for our listeners that might not be familiar, what's a DEXA scan?
So a DEXA scan is like a full body, it's a dual X-ray.
Absorbiometry, which is the weirdest word of all time.
So it's basically an X-ray that you can use for two things. You can use for body composition and for bone mineral density. And if you go for the bone mineral density scan and you get tested on your hip and your spine, you can detect if you have strong bones and where your bone, what strength they are, and if you are having the onset, so osteopenia and then possibly osteoporosis. And currently, I think, from a national health perspective, I think here as well in Asia, in Singapore, Hong Kong, in the UK, doctors are giving it at like 60.
Yes.
It's too late.
It is too late.
We refer out for DEXAs all the time, right? For women that, women that are 36 going through perimenopause or whatever. And so often, when my husband makes the referral, the lab is like, are you sure, for this patient? Like, yes, we're sure.
For sure.
This patient needs a DEXA scan.
Oh,
we get questioned, anyone under, like you said, 65, really, if we're being honest, we get questions from the lab.
So I'm really trying to push for that. You've got to bank your bones.
Yeah.
When you're younger, don't go on fad diets.
Bank
Make
them,
sure
girls.
you always have your period.
Because this is the thing. I think people don't consider how important bones are. But the reason they're so important is because if you have a fall when you're in your 60s, there's a chance you might not survive it.
Yes,
if you have a fall when you're in your 80s, you're gone. There's overwhelming research to show that is one of the number one pathways to a shortened lifespan.
Yeah. Well, I'm an 80s baby, so I grew up really through the 90s with, you know, fast low fat diets and
Been there, done that.
the Atkins diet and, you know, all of these and, you know, doing aerobics,
Yeah.
you know, and it was absolutely toxic, you know, and that mentality. And I'm very lucky that I played netball. Yeah. So I was bounding constantly every day, you know. Now, I obviously had a knee replaced. I had my cruciate ligament snapped because of the bounding.
Another, you know,
and not enough strength training back in those days because we didn't do that back in those days, you know.
Girl.
Oh, because you didn't want to get bulky or anything, right?
Oh my
And they
goodness,
just
God
didn't have
forbid.
it, you know, when I was diving, when I was 14, that was the first time that I had a strength and conditioning coach.
Wow.
But through my 12 years of gymnastics before that,
and that's when you really
did not
needed
have.
it. I know. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So I mean, So anyway, sports have come a long way.
Sports have come a long way, and just research has come a long way. You know, so. For anyone listening, you know, strong over skinny, you know, and it's so important that, and you will not bulk up really quickly. It takes so much strength training and so much protein to be bulky.
Yes.
Maybe even extra testosterone.
Yeah, exactly. So don't fear it.
Yeah. And can we be honest, even if you accidentally stumbled into bulkiness, which again, show me how that works because I've been going for bulkiness for years. But even if you did,
yes,
it would be the best thing that ever happened to your health.
Oh,
so
my
you're
goodness.
welcome.
Yeah, for metabolic health,
Yes.
for your brain health.
If you accidentally got to 90th percentile ALMI, you're welcome.
Oh my goodness.
Because now you're unbreakable.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like these are things not to be feared. But like you said, it's unlikely that it would even happen.
Yeah.
You know, the way that I think culturally women imagine it to happen.
That's it. Having a DEXA scan as a woman's health check when you're 40 is so important.
Yes.
Because then you have a baseline and you know what you need to put in place. For your bones as well, I would also recommend yes, you need protein and you need a little bit of extra protein moving into midlife and beyond. Absolutely. But you also need possibly a vitamin D supplement.
Yes.
You know, we do live here in Singapore, Hong Kong, where we are so blessed with the sunshine that most countries aren't. But we cover up and we use sunscreen to protect ourselves from cancers. But also in Asian skin, there can be a pigment that doesn't absorb vitamin D. And so, you know, having that vitamin D3 supplement can be
with
really
some
important.
K2,
With some
right?
K2, yeah. So for women's health moving forward, and also vitamin D, you know, helps boost your mood and your gut health as well, your immune system. So, and you can't really overdo vitamin D, but just even like 500 IUI or 1,000 IUI should international units should be okay,
I think I'm taking 10,000.
Are you on the pure encapsulations?
No, I've got a liquid form. So I take, it's like I just, you know, drop 2 drops of 2 5,000s, have a K2 with my collagen and a few other bits.
Yeah.
Are there any other either supplements or lifestyle measures that you recommend kind of across the board for women that are preparing for their best menopause or going through menopause?
Most women go through menopause naturally through, you know, early 40s, your estrogen starts to drop. So you will be going through some transition. You may not feel anything until you're maybe in your mid to late 40s. So the average age of menopause is 45 to 55. You know, but when you are in your 40s, you're more confident just in life, right? And you have the ability to put more boundaries in place in whatever form they may take. You know, that could be alcohol doesn't serve me anymore, or, you know, I like this alcohol, I don't want to drink that, and just choosing and having the confidence to
not giving a shit to say no.
what we
Right?
say.
well,
no
not being
shit's
a
given.
people pleaser as well, you know, like we may have been in different times, and that can help reduce stress.
Yeah.
And stress, you know, and doctors always, you know, I hear this all the time, you know, women, when they do eventually go to ask for help, doctors say it could be stress. And it can be causing all this inflammation. So one of the biggest lifestyle things that I chat to with women is start reducing your stress. Put those boundaries up. Recognize, particularly in, you know, working in the workplace, you know, is there any cyclical times in the year that you know They're going to be stressful periods that you can then put the management tools around that. Who do you talk to?
Amazing.
Where are you getting your sleep? Are you getting enough sleep? You know, I work with a lot of global companies and they're on calls at night and, you know, and then they have to get up and do their job in the morning or they've got kids and, you know, and then they're going through this transition and they're just blindsided by life. And being able to put your hand up and say, you know, this, I can't do this anymore, or, you know, delegating some of the calls, or is this necessary, you know, not having meetings for meetings as well. So reducing stress in your life. Nutritionally, sometimes magnesium can help, a supplement can help reduce you know, some of the stress. Ashwagandha, yes. Maca powder can maybe give energy as well. But these are all personal things. You know, if you're a food first kind of person, if you have the means, if you have the desire to eat well, you should be getting a lot of this through your diet, and some supplements may benefit that, like omega-3 can help reduce inflammation but also help with your brain health. And the vitamin D3 I would definitely recommend. Sleep, magnesium glycinate, you know, to help in whatever form that comes. For me personally, my digestion really suffered. And also because I had a lot of radiation around the pelvic area. So I take magnesium citrate as well as a really good, and that, so magnesium citrate is like a little, it's not a laxative, but it can help push things along.
Oh, it can push it along. No, that's an old bodybuilder's trick. P.S. There was this product back in the day when I was like kind of in that world, and it's called Mag-O7. And it was like 700 milligrams of magnesium citrate, and that would just blow you right up. So it is a mild to severe laxative effect. But it's again great for healthy digestion in proper doses. I am not recommending anyone take the bodybuilder dose. So please,
please do. Yeah. If you have got the means, do go to a registered nutritionist or dietitian. You know, somebody who's qualified and to work with women at this age and who understands the symptoms that you're going through and can really help you target those areas, you know, and support you with that.
And can put them all together. Put the pieces together.
Because it's a multidisciplinary kind of holistic approach, you know. So mental health is definitely, be aware of your mental health. And if it's something that's negatively impacting your world, your day-to-day quality of life and your work, please seek help. There are resources. And most organizations do have mental health support. Access it. It's there for you. Go and use it. And if you need extra on top of that, then please go and see a doctor to get extra, maybe medicinal support for that as well.
We're hearing more and more about creatine now, sort of creatine for brain health, creatine for muscle, for endurance. What are your thoughts on that for women during perimenopause, or even those who have sort of past menopause? Do you think they should be taking it as well? Yeah,
I would start with 3 and just make sure you are well hydrated. And, you know, it seems scary. And a lot of women that I meet, you know, when I met 2 of them yesterday, I want to do it naturally. And, you know, creatine.
Did you explain how much meat that is? Like me, and I'm a avid meat. I mean, we are sponsored by the Meat Club, code TFF12, and we eat a ton of it.
Yes.
Do you realize how much more it would take to get 3 to 5 grams?
It's a lot.
You know, 5 grams is 2 kgs of beef.
So it's so much. And, you know, even just that 3 grams at a maintenance level for women, you know, that could really impact your brain health and retain your muscle, which can give you body confidence, which gives you just confidence, you know? So yes, I definitely recommend that. And particularly for those women who may be listening and they are aged, you know, in their 60s, you know, eating a lot of protein, you know, you have to train your gut. To take on,
fair points.
You know, a lot of protein. Even eating like, say, a chicken breast that maybe has 40 grams or, you know, of protein in it. That's a lot in one sitting for women, particularly at an older age when they're not used to possibly having done that historically. And so even a protein supplement might be beneficial for those women also who want and feel like intermittent fasting is benefiting them. It's not a right or wrong, it's a lifestyle. But you won't get enough protein in your day if you do it because you're only eating 2 meals. You won't be getting enough fiber. So you need to make sure that you are increasing that in another way. And a really good way of doing that is having a protein powder in a shaker bottle that you can just have a drink, you know, as a snack mid-afternoon. And then the fiber, you know, maybe adding fiber to your shake, like some psyllium husk or whatever form you might take it. Because if you are doing intermittent fasting, you need to make sure that your gut health is good as well.
Absolutely. And I love that you just brought up a protein shake, by the way. You know, after this creatine discussion, you know, I always think about, you know, the whole marketing scheme of shrink it and pink it. Right? If you want something to appeal to women, shrink it and pink it. And I'm literally asking for your brainstorm ideas here, Lisa. How can we get women to normalize just drinking protein shakes? Like I honestly
Do we need
think
that pink?
the visual of the shaker bottle, like what a shaker bottle looks like. You know what it looks like with a little ball inside. I feel like when women see that, they're like repulsed by it, or it just it reeks masculinity. How are we rebranding protein shakes so that women are putting it on their desk and sipping it through the day, like what you just said? Give me your best idea.
It's a tough one, because I think it's just, again, it's education and knowledge. Like, why is this going to benefit me? But also, some protein shakes cause diarrhea, you know?
Also fair
so
points.
You need to have the right protein shake. So it has to come from the right source. And then some women are vegetarian, vegan for many different reasons. And so, you know, you have a plant-based protein there?
Yeah.
And, you know, one good way of doing it is possibly, you know, putting that into pantries in workplaces, you know, and
having it be visible
having
in
it
the
be
work snack
visible,
cabinet and stuff like that.
And people, you know, having that. And also protein shakes are associated with exercise. Yeah. So women who don't necessarily go to the gym, they may do yoga, they may feel that they don't want to take a protein shake. And you know what? I don't take a protein shake because I eat food. Yeah. And that's my choice because I love food. So I get my protein through food, and I just don't find it palatable either. But if you're not getting it through your food, you have to get it from another source. Yeah. So this is another option. Yeah. But you don't, if you are getting enough protein at each meal, you don't have to take a protein shake. It's a choice. Yeah. So I'm not an advocate that every woman has to take it. Yeah. But yes, if you are limited with money, or you're limited with, you know, the means, or you're traveling, or protein shakes is a great alternative.
Or do what Amanda does and pop it in your Ninja creamy and make a protein ice cream.
Make it a delicious ice cream.
Brilliant. That's it. You can put it in anything. You can put it in your oats.
Yeah, which I also actually did this morning. You know? It's like I show openly the 1,001 ways to use your protein powder, because I use it all the different ways.
My favorite is with cottage cheese. I know you don't like vanilla protein, but vanilla protein in cottage cheese with some fruit and some sugar-free granola. It is amazing. It's like cheesecake for breakfast.
Yeah, actually that is
with
it's
like 50 grams of protein in like one meal. It's amazing.
You must be so stuffed.
Oh, so stuffed. Like to be fair, when I have that in the morning, that's pretty much my lunch and my breakfast and my lunch. Yes. And then I'll just have a dinner. In which case I can easily knock back, you know, a chicken breast. Yeah. Actually, to be fair, chicken or steak.
Chicken thigh for you, right?
Chicken thigh for me. Yeah. So I get my protein in even if I am only having 2 meals.
Yeah.
Well,
that's good. Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
So I love, you know, I don't want to preempt your 40s formula, because that is always our last question for every guest. But I love that you gave us a little short one-liner, which is bank your bones and build your boundaries. Yes. Because I think those two, you know, there's an instrumental element of the one and there's a mindset element in the other, right? Sure. What is then your 40s formula? You know, so if you want to kind of leave women with the couple of lines from your expertise that they can deploy when they need a little bit of bump in this decade, what is it?
Own it. Be unapologetic. Why are we so afraid to say the word menopause?
Yeah.
You know, use the word. The more we use it, the more we normalize it. You know, we are giving you today important information, but you have a choice if you want to use that or not, and that's your choice. So you can use little bits of it. You can take the protein shake and not the creatine. You know, you will still be okay. Go and see the doctor if you need the help. Don't wait until it's too late. Do the strength training. Do ensure that you bank your bones, because we are living longer, and we do want to make sure that we have that quality of life that our mothers don't. My mum has osteoporosis. She's 68. You know, like, I want to be 85 and still trying to do a chin up, even though I can't, but I still want the ability to try.
You can get there, Lisa. It's never too late.
It's never too late, but it's never too late ever. Yeah. And that's it. It's never too late. If you are listening and you're over 40, it's never too late. If you're under 40, start learning and putting things in place now. Yeah.
There you go, girl. Preach. Use your youth, but also it's never too late,
It's
right?
never
to own
too late to
it.
start. Your body is so incredible. I've had cancer twice. I'm 13 years in menopause. I've been through ups and downs and rounds, and honest to goodness, your body is the most incredible, particularly women. Come on.
Yes.
Our bodies are superhuman.
Superhuman.
And
Back.
if you treat it well, it will give you back. It's like a boomerang effect. If you look after it, it will look after you.
All I want to say is, hello, everybody. My name is Jasmin. I'm 42 years old and I'm in perimenopause.
Yeah.
Hello, Jasmin.
Own it, girl. You're in the right circle for sure today. Well, Lisa,
brilliant.
thank you so much for
Oh,
being
you're
here with us.
welcome.
We have so benefited from your expertise and we really appreciate your views.
Thank you, Amanda. Thanks, Jazz. Thanks so
thank
much for having
you.
me. And yeah, I love Singapore. I love your community. And I hope everybody can take away one or two things that can really impact their life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing that comes up a lot with the women I work with, and for myself too, is insulin resistance. It becomes more common in our 40s and it can show up as energy crashes, stubborn weight gain, sugar cravings, and just feeling off.
Yeah, and it's not just about what you eat. It's about how your body responds. Even women who eat well can feel those dips in energy or mood after meals.
Exactly. I tend to eat low carb most of the time to manage that. But I also think there's space for smart support when you do want to have carbs. That's why I rate Avea Life's metabolic control routine.
It's a combination of stabilizer, which includes berberine, chromium, and white mulberry leaf water extract, and NMN. These ingredients are known for supporting healthy blood sugar levels and energy metabolism.
It's a thoughtful way to support your body when you want more flexibility with food, especially in midlife when things can shift.
You can find it at avea-life.com and use the code FORMULA20 for 20% off if you'd like to give it a go.
Guys, you know we love coffee. And if you want to show us some love, you know you can always get us one.
Just visit buymeacoffee.com/the40s formula.
Cheers.
Before we go, please remember to hit subscribe and take a moment to support the 40s formula by leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform.
Your reviews will help us to reach more people and allow us to continue to bring valuable content. It should only take a moment and it's a free way for you to support the show.
You can also stay updated with the 40s formula by following us on Instagram at the 40s formula, all one word. We share behind the scenes insights, episode updates, and much more, so please be sure to hit that follow button.
We appreciate your time and support. Thank you for being part of this community, and we'll be back next week for more empowering conversations with inspiring guests.
Bye. Checking these mics. I was telling Naz, I was like, we haven't had Naz in studio in a while.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point.
Yeah, the Adventures of Naz and Shaz. It's just been the Adventures of Shaz for a while.
I was listening to our episode today, honestly, like...
Sarah's?
Yes, okay. So this is a crazy, crazy story. She had brain tumor. She had a spine tumor. She was a neuroscientist with a PhD in neuroscience. Then she changed her career and became a fashion designer. But if you listen to her story, it's one of these ones where, you know, you're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to feel terrified. It's just...
It's nuts.
It's nuts. It's a crazy story, but so entertaining.
And the first tumor, she was 39, two small kids. And the second tumor, she was 44. So like, it's not like she's like, 70. I mean, this is like happening to a young woman, and it was crazy. And yeah, the fashion design thing, it's not even like she was a neuroscience turned fashion designer.
Yes.
Turned fashion designer. I mean, won awards, she was.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like, I mean, she excels. She's clearly someone who excels.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then to get that tumor diagnosis twice, unreal.
Been there.
Yeah.
Wow. Really?
That's why I started the company.
Wow.
I've had cancer twice.
No
Oh my
way.
gosh.
That's why I went into menopause.
Wow.
So medical.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, so I actually started getting into sort of perimenopause really early on. Like I had twins at 36.
Yeah.
That's when I started getting my symptoms and stuff. I'm still going through it because I mean, it takes a while. But when you're going through it and things are off, it's just
It's off.
But I guess for you, did you take hormones or you were?
Oh, I'm still on hormones.
Okay, so you were able to take hormones.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, because sometimes
Breast
they,
cancer.
Yes.
Wait, so was yours?
Cervical.
Oh, I see. Wow.
Never had an abnormal smear.
Wow.
Had a 3-centimeter tumor.
Wow.
How did they find it?
I was bleeding after sex. Yeah, a lot. So then my husband was like, let's go.
Yeah, this can't be right.
Yeah. Living the dream in Rome. And I got diagnosed with cancro. Sounds nicer in
It
Italian.
actually does. It sounds like a beautiful journey.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.